There are pains we carry for so long that, when we finally stop to listen to them, we realize they were always trying to tell us something about who we are, about who we weren't, and about who we still have the potential to become. Silent pains, pains that don't scream, pains that settle in like persistent guests in the living room of the soul. We often believe they come solely from the outside world, our genetics, our family, society, the accidents and coincidences that seem to shape our destiny. But there comes a rare and transformative moment when we understand that our pain has a deeper story than we ever imagined. A story that runs through past experiences, old fears, shadows we refuse to face, and patterns we repeat without even realizing. And that's where the journey of self-discovery begins. From early on, we learn to view life as a set of external causes. I'm like this because my family is like this. I'm anxious because I grew up surrounded by pressure. I'm insecure because life wasn't kind to me. All of these narratives hold truth, but they're only part of the inner landscape. There is a deeper layer, one that few dare to enter. A layer where consciousness touches dimensions of the self that can't be explained by external circumstances alone. It's the space where we discover that we are, in many ways, heirs of ourselves, of the choices we made, the ones we didn't make, the paths we abandoned, the emotions we buried, and even the ones we pretended not to feel. In this intimate place, we learn that every pain carries an invitation. Not an invitation to suffer, but to understand. Because nothing in us is the result of pure chance. For a long time, many thinkers believed that human beings were simply biological machines, shaped by impulses, conditioning, and material inheritance. And yes, all of that exists. We are body, chemistry, history. But there is a part of us that escapes every label, every microscope, every purely rational explanation. A part that insists on dreaming. A part that questions. A part that feels beyond what's visible. A part that seeks meaning, not just survival. And in that search, we realize we're not made only of flesh and thought. We're made of purpose. Anyone who has witnessed someone navigating deep suffering knows this. It isn't the body that cries out, it's the soul. And when joy bursts within us, it's not just chemicals firing, it's something deeper celebrating life. Maybe that's why so many people throughout history try to dive into the mystery of the human being. They discovered that behind the social masks, behind the wounds, behind fear, there is a hidden self. A self we don't always know, but that stays with us, guiding us quietly, leading us beyond what we believe possible. This deeper self knows that life is not just being born and dying. It knows that everything has purpose. It knows that every tear and every victory carries a message. It knows that nothing is wasted. When we don't understand our own inner potential, we become trapped in conflicts that tear us apart from the inside. Doubts invade our minds. Insecurity paralyzes us. Fear becomes a constant companion. Making decisions becomes a burden. Moving forward feels too risky. We stand endlessly at the crossroads between this or that. This internal paralysis is one of the greatest human sufferings, and it leads to subtle escapes, into discouragement, into conformity, into the belief that there's no point in trying, or worse, into the idea that we don't deserve happiness. How many times have you felt this way? How many times accepted a life far smaller than the one you desire? How many times silenced your dreams because you believed you weren't capable? But here's the truth. No human being was born to suffer forever. No one is condemned to their own shadows. And no pain is greater than the inner capacity we all have to transform. Self-discovery is the key to that liberation. When we stop to sincerely look inward, without masks, without excuses, without running, something changes. We begin to understand the reasons behind our fears, our reactions, our impulses. We discover that many of our limitations were learned, not natural. We discover that insecurity often comes from old stories. We discover that shyness can be a shield protecting us from rejection. We discover that the fear of failure is, in reality, the fear of meeting ourselves. And little by little, as we touch each pain with honesty, it begins to transform. Because every pain that is heard becomes a lesson. Every shadow illuminated reveals a strength. Every vulnerability understood becomes courage. To begin this journey, a few steps are essential. 1. Healthy dissatisfaction. Not rebellion without direction, but the inner discomfort that pushes you toward growth. The feeling that you can, and should, be more than you are today. 2. A sincere desire to change. Transformation requires real willingness. Without it, we remain stuck in repetition. With it, we create paths where none seem possible. 3. Persistence. Self-discovery is not an event. It's a process, a continuous movement of observing, understanding, accepting, and transforming. 4. Self-acceptance. Accepting is not settling. Accepting means recognizing who you are now, so you can choose who you want to be next. 5. Emotional growth. Growth hurts, but it's a liberating pain. The pain of muscles strengthening, not wounds opening. When we don't know ourselves, our weaknesses gain too much power. We're easily shaken by criticism, rejection, frustration. Any situation can trigger us. Any challenge becomes a threat. That's why so many people feel small, even though they carry enormous potential. Why so many remain stagnant, even while longing to move forward. Why so many suffer, even while desperately wanting to be happy. But none of this is permanent. Self-discovery is, in itself, an act of healing. It teaches us that we no longer need to accept a life that hurts us, that we don't have to submit to what destroys us, that we don't deserve the suffering we choose to carry. It's interesting how many believe they must endure pain as punishment, as if life were a scale of penalties and rewards. After all, we were taught this, to associate suffering with growth and happiness with rarity. But this mindset keeps us from flourishing. True acceptance of life is not resignation. It's understanding. It's knowing that pain has a purpose, but it is not meant to be a home. That suffering may teach, but it should not imprison. That every challenge is an invitation to evolve, not a sentence to remain the same. To accept pain is to embrace it without revolt, but with action. To acknowledge it, but to work toward healing it, and then to move forward. In the end, every inner journey leads us to the same place. A reconnection with who we always were, but forgot to be. Self-discovery doesn't turn us into someone new. It simply removes the layers that kept us from seeing who we've always been. Our worth, our light, our infinite capacity to grow. And even if everything around us seems dark, a single spark of awareness can transform the entire path. A small insight can open space for huge change. One word can redirect a life. One act of love can reignite hope. One choice can change destiny. So this message is an invitation, a gentle but firm call. Seek yourself. Know yourself. Rebuild yourself. Because life always responds to those who are willing to walk inward. And when you do, you'll realize you were never alone. There has always been something greater guiding you, inspiring you, strengthening you. Something quietly illuminating your body, mind, and spirit. Something leading you, step by step, toward the fullness that is possible. May this be the beginning of your journey. May you move beyond your pain, beyond your limiting beliefs, beyond everything that keeps you tied to the past. Because life always expands for those who choose to expand with it. And if this message touched your heart, remember, like this video, drop a comment, and follow the channel so we can continue this journey of self-discovery, healing, and transformation together.